Hello everyone. In our last discussion, we were discussing about upper bar widget, but to create the upper bar widget, we used other widgets as well. So this is what we have created last time. Basically, what we said was we said we're going to learn about basic widgets, and among the basic widgets we have several other widgets including upper bar. We also have button widget, we have container widget, which we'll discuss in more details as the lecture continues. However, in our last discussion we stopped after we discussed the safe area widget and why the safe area widget, actually the property of the safe area widget used by the property of the flexible space in the upper bar widget. So we used the safe area widget on the property of the flexible space, and it will allow us to display the widget or the upper bar without putting it inside a notch or other cloak layouts. So now we continue to develop this upper bar in order to make it look like this. Okay, so far what we have is just we had the camera widget, and the camera widget, as you can see, that is created on top of the upper bar, and it looks like it's also on the body of the app. So we want to create some theme in order to handle this, and the best way to do that is use the bottom property of the app widget, the app bar widget. And the app bar widget has several properties as described here. It has the title, the action, the leading, and the bottom, and other properties too. But here, if we use the bottom property in the upper bar, and then to set the bottom property, if we use the preferred size widget, then we can make our app look more visible, right? So we go ahead and create our bottom property, and then we create preferred size widget, or we use preferred size widget in order to populate the bottom property. And then it also has a child, which is a container widget, and that container child, this container widget, which we'll discuss later on, has its property, and it has also a child, which is the center widget. So you can see that we are using, although we haven't discussed the container widget, the center widget yet, we are using them in order to create our widget tree. And then the other property, this preferred size, is that where should the bottom start? The bottom should start 75 centimeters from the height. Okay, it should be starting 75 centimeters, not actually 75 meters. It is 75 pixels. So we go ahead and modify our app. So in the upper bar we add bottom property, and the preferred size is going to be the widget that we're going to use. So it has two so it has like lots of properties, like the key property, the child, and preferred size. So we want the preferred size at this time, and then the child. And the child is basically a container, and then that container has a child too. So the child is a container, and then that container has also a child. Maybe let's say it is a text at this point in time, and then we'll make that text. So this is text, and then we'll make that text bottom, right? And the preferred size is where should it start? So it should start from size from height about 75.0, and in the container I have the container to be bottom. So here is our app. So if I control S this, then there should be something like this. So now you can see that, oh okay, I have extended my app bar by size of 75, and you can see easily where everything is, right? I can set the color of the container to be colors dot light green dot shade 100. So now there's should be something changing. So this is the color of the text. I meant to modify the colors of the container. This should be the color of the container though, a container color like this, right? So yeah, and also I can modify the height and the width, right? The height I can say maybe 75.0, and the width I want it to cover everything, so I can say double dot infinity. That means from left to right. So if I say Control S, now my app look like this, and you can see that my text now comes here. So I should make my text a center. So to put it at the center, I engulf it with a center widget. So I can say center, and then in that center what I can say is child of that center is going to be text, but I have to close this, and if I say Control S, you can see bottom is now at the center, and I have I have extended the height of the bottom of the app bar. To make it more look cool, what I did is I went into the flexible space where the camera icon is located, and then what I did is actually I made the colors of the icon the same color with my bottom property. So now you can see that it looks more cool and more attractive. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. So it looks more beautiful, more attractive. So this is how you design your app bar. Okay, so the next topic that we are going to discuss, or it's not the next topic actually, the next basic widget. Okay, so far we are not actually discussing all these widgets. Okay, we are not discussing container, we are not discussing center, we are not discussing text. Rather, what we are discussing is the app bar widget. Okay, so this is the app bar widget, and what we did is we tried to modify the app bar, and the app bar uses other widgets. So we used other widgets to develop our app bar. So next we'll discuss our container widget. In our container widget, what is a container widget? We have used it previously. but our container widget is a layout widget. So it is not like icon, or it is not like button. Okay, it's not visible. The icon, the layout is invisible. It just allows us to draw. Like it will allow us to arrange our other widgets. So when we discuss layout widgets, multi-child layout, single child layout, we'll understand even more. But for now, it's better if you know what container widgets is and how we can modify its properties. Okay. So the container widget is used to customize the child widget. As you can see, customize the child widget, not customize itself. And it has lots of properties, and it can have optional child widget, and we can use the decoration widget to decorate. So we can custom the border, the color, the constraint, the alignment, and other things as well. And if the container widget does not have any child widget, then it will be just an empty placeholder. Okay, if we use container widget and then it has no child, then it actually is just a placeholder. So in this case, for instance, I'm just gonna minimize the app bars because we are done with it for now. So in this case, you can see that the body of the scaffold, as you can see from the app, there is nothing. We just put container. So it's just a placeholder at this point in time. But we can have other properties. For instance, in the case of this preferred size, we can set the color in the other properties in order to set or in order to make it visible. Okay, let's just minimize the app bar now and talk about this container widget. So suppose you want to add to the body of your app. So in this case, you can write all the codes here. That means you can write like container, and then I can put the color, for instance, colors, like this, colors that light green. And if I control S, so the app look like this. But I don't want to write all the code here. What I can do is I can create another widget in order to call to the body of my state. So now I'm talking about the body of my state. I'm talking about this area. When it is empty, it is just white. Control Z. So yeah, so you can see that it is empty now. So I can continue to code here, but that is not the right way of coding. What I do is I will just add other widgets to make my body look good. So I can add decoration, and I can add some padding, safe area, and column widget. We'll see what column widget is later on. So these things are very related and interrelated, so it's very hard. So what I want right now is I will create a class called container with box decoration widget, and then I will try to demonstrate the container class inside this widget. Okay, but before I do that, I will have to modify my body widget. Instead of just containing an empty container, I would want other things to be displayed here. So the The first thing I would want is I want to have some kind of padding. If you remember, we've discussed padding maybe at the beginning of the Flutter framework discussion, but we'll discuss it also again. So I'll have my padding, and then it has the padding property, and also it has the child property. So for the padding, what I want is I want age insets. I can have age insets dot only, or I can have age insets dot all. So in this case, I want padding around my container. So I will want maybe 16 pixel widget. So this is because I want to know what I want to create. Okay, later on we'll see how you can decide on this kind of numbers. And the child of the padding, we can assume that, oh, let it be a safe area. And then inside that safe area, I can create other child. Okay, that child is going to be single scroll view, single scroll or single child scroll view. So here I create a single child scroll view, and this single child scroll view is also another widget that we have to discuss, but for the time being we are going to focus on container widget. Okay, so our goal is to create a container widget, and this scroll view or single child scroll view also have a child. In this case, it doesn't have one child, it's going to have children. No, it's going to have the child, which is actually column. So I'm gonna put child column. Also, column widget is not discussed yet, so just for the time being, just follow and write this. And the column child can have children, which is list of widgets. And since I want to demonstrate the container widget, what I will say is container with box decoration. Container with box decoration widget. But I didn't have container with box decoration widget, so I have to create this widget. Since I have it in my box widget, it might import it from here, but I don't want that one to be imported, so there will be some kind of error down there. So it says some error, as you can see here, because it brought it from the previous class. So now it says, what is the error? Create this container with a box decoration widget, or you can import it from basic widget, from the widget I already, from the class I already created. But because I don't want to do that, I will just create this class. And to do that, I will just come here and create. So basically I can just copy paste this, Control C. So you can see that within a widget I created another widget, I created another widget. All I want to do now is demonstrate container widget, and I can write the whole code here, but writing the whole code here is not efficient. That's why I want to create the code for demonstrating the container widget in some other class. So I'll just minimize this, and I'll say class container extends what you say stateless widget, and then I will just, and probably it doesn't have any build method, so I'll just create the build method. So you can see that now my problems are solved. But take a look at here. So far we have done nothing. Okay, here what we did is we created a padding, we created some other, all these are layout widgets. So we created no visible widget. So if I run this program, nothing will happen. So if I say Control S, the error is avoided, but the build function has null, so nothing is happening here. Okay, so we have to fill in some information in this container box widget, as we'll discuss in the slides, and we'll come and fill it a little bit later. I have already discussed how we can create a container with box decoration widget, and we have to create a constructor for our container with box decoration widget instead of returning null. And you can see that the container has a decoration property. So using this property and using the box decoration widget, I can design or develop my container widget. Okay, so let's just create first our constructor. So I can say I want constructor, and it's gonna be the same name, and then what I can do is probably use a key. So I can say key, and then give the super, that means the stateless widget, super key. We'll discuss this later on, so just don't worry about it right now. Okay, so I finished creating my constructor. Now instead of returning the null, what I want is I want it to return container, and this container has properties. So you can see that all the things that I can do to this container. It has a child, it has margin, it has transform, lots of properties for this container. So I'm now demonstrating the container widget, which is a basic widget or basic layout widget. So I can say maybe now I want the decoration property, and the decoration property can be set by box decoration. So at this point also nothing is happening. So if I say Control S, maybe it is not returning null, so the error message from here will be disappearing. However, there is nothing to show here, so I must add some more information to make it look more beautiful. So here in the box decoration, I can define certain things. Okay. The first thing I can develop is the border radius. So you can see that I can create a circle, but at this point I want to create a container that is at the bottom left 10 radius, and at the bottom right maybe 100, at the bottom left 100 radius, and at the bottom right, which is 10 radius circular. So I want it to look like this. And also I can add the gradient property. So the gradient property makes it like fading. Okay, so you can see that this is more darker and this is more lighter. So I want to create this container. So using the border radius and the the gradient properties of box decoration, I can create a container that look like this. So you can see that now it looks more interesting, right? So let me go ahead and create it. So what are the two properties I'm looking for? I'm looking for border radius, and also the border radius, and also I'm looking for the gradient. Okay, I'll fill the properties of both later on. So how can I set the border radius? Using the what? Using the border radius method. Border radius. I can have all, but I can have border radius dot only, and then which sides? I have the bottom left, and also I have let me put it, bottom right. So what do I do with that? I set the radius to circular. Okay, so I can say radius circular, how much? In this case 100.0, and in the next case radius dot circular, I just want 10.0. Okay, what else do I want? I want to set the gradient via what? Linear gradient. And in the linear gradient, as you can see, I'm doing like step by step. I want begin, and I want end, and also I want color. So here are the three properties of this linear gradient I want to set. And the begin will be alignment that top center, and this the end can be bottom center. Alignment that bottom center. What are the colors that I want? The colors that I want is a list of colors for my gradient. So I'll make this a list, and I can have two colors. Colors that light green, and color dot white. So something should have happened here. I should have come here. Let me see what happened. Maybe I should hit the const there. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, so the decoration, and also yeah, I have to set the height of the container. The height should be maybe 100. Control S. Now you see with 100. So if I change this maybe to 500, a bigger container will be created. Okay, and you can scroll up and down, because you engulf this container, or this, not this container actually, this container with box decoration widget. So for the time being, let's make it 100, and then Control S, and then this is our container. So you can see that I created my container with box decoration widget, and then I made it the child of this column. Okay, so if I write every code, here, by the way, it will look like that. But I want more things in this body. In this body, I want to add more things for later on. So writing all the code together is not a good thing. So that's why I created my own widget, which is called container with box decoration widget, and then I write everything there. Now you are familiar with, I think, the container widget. The next widget to discuss is the text widget. Okay, but we already used the text widget, and you can easily put at the center of your container, or at the as a child of your container. You can set this what you call text, and make it like a container. Like this is like saying, sorry, I used the word like again and again. So instead, like the height and the child of this is a text widget, which says container. So if you see container engulf the child widget size, but if I put it maybe in a center, you'll see different thing. So as you can see, if I put it in a center and make it like this, and if I say Control S, yeah, I will come here. So it's all about having that container in this kind of widget hierarchy. Okay, so you can just add the center layout to make it more look good, which is described here. However, we know that the text doesn't give us all the necessary styles. So if we want a more stylish and a more beautiful app, we have to use the text-rich widget, which is also a basic widget. In this text-rich or in this rich text widget, we can use multiple styles at the same time, and it also takes text span as its children. So you can say that you can see that I have rich text which has text property, and then we can use text span widget which can have also children. Like this is what we are designing, like multiple texts within just one widget tree. So we can replace the text widget which we have been using with rich text, and we continue to develop a better app. So we had text here, let's replace it with rich text, and then inside this rich text what I want is a text, and inside that text is what I want is not here, actually text span. So I want a text span, and that text span also have it also have a text, and then it has style, and then it has probably children. So you can see that within rich text I created a text that I want to edit and the style of that text, and if I want to add more or texts and define their styles, what I will do is I will create more text. So first let's say maybe Flutter world, and then I can set the style for different, so I can use the text style. So usually this is when you want to edit more texts at the same level. You can use just text and text style to also develop your own text style. So I want to change the font size, the color. So I want to change the color, the font weight, the font family, decoration color, and decoration style. So here the font size could be 24 at this point. The font family, what I want is the font weight. I don't want the font family, rather I want the font style, and the font style can be font style that italic at this point, and font weight will be normal, font weight dot normal, and then I want the color to be kind of purple, so I can say colors dot purple, and then the decoration color I can change it to colors dot deep purple accent, right? And then the decoration style, I want to be text decoration style that dotted. So you can see that I have changed something now, but this is all about the Flutter world. And I also have children. So what are my children going to be? I'm just going to have a list of text spans. So if you remember, similar to the widgets, I can create a list of text spans. And in this list, I can add other text spans. Okay. So I created two text spans, and in the first text span I just add the text for, and then in the next text span I added the the word mobile, and then I added the style of this mobile. I want the color to be orange, and I want the font style to be normal, and the font weight to be bold. So if I say Ctrl S, you can see that this is now looking like this. It is more, but the one thing I want you to notice here is that this for its style has not been set separately, so it inherits its parent's style. Okay, so you can see that this text span is the children of this text span. So if you don't set that the style, then let's put it like this. So you can see that I have the outer text span and the inner text spans. So the first one has for, and the second one has mobile. So if you don't set its style, it will take its parent's style. If you change the style of the children also, it will have its own style, as you can see here. So I think you are now getting more familiar with text widgets and also other basic widgets. Okay, so you can use this code in order to develop this, and this is actually the child of the container. Don't get me wrong. Okay, this is within the container with box decoration widget. We have the container, and then we have the child of this container is center text rich, and you can see that the child is here, and also its decorations down here. So this container has height, child, and decoration property, and this child property is basically mostly a text rich, but it is at the center of the container. We'll have the text rich and the rich text widget, and that rich text widget is set up using the properties that we have discussed earlier. Okay, so the next widget is the column widget, and the column widget is also a layout widget. This is also a basic layout widget, by the way. You use this to render multiple children. So it displays children vertically. So it takes the children property, and in that children property it holds an array of lists, or an array of widgets, or a list of widgets, and it aligns them vertically. Okay, these child widgets, they are expanded. That means they fill. So these are child widgets. Okay, they fill the column width and height, and when there are multiple child or multiple children, they divide the space evenly, as long as you didn't set them. That by default it will take even proportion of the column widget, and it has properties such as cross alignment, main axis alignment, and main axis size in order to set up its property. So you can create column widget by yourself. Actually, we'll create a column widget. So this column widget is separately created, and it is added to what? It is added to the body next to the container with box decoration widgets that we created. Okay, so let's go ahead and create this column widget. So you have used column widget previously, but you didn't know what it is. But now we'll create a column widget, and then we will use it. Okay, first let's create our column widget. I'll say class widget extends stateless widget. Stateless widget. And then obviously I need an override method, so probably it will create for me. Thank you. And then I will return column in this case. Maybe I might put the column in the center. So I'll do that later. It will return column, and I can have properties such as cross axis alignment. I'll have maybe minimum axis alignment. Usually I list out the properties I want before I code, and then I'll have main axis size, and then its children is list of widgets. So for this time being, I just want to demonstrate column. So I'll have 3 children, and among these children I will have just what you call the text widgets. So I'll have the text widget with text as column, and I'll have 3 of them. So I'll just Control C and Control V them. So this will be column 1, this will be column 2, this will be column 3, and this is just a comma to avoid the error. So it's a list of 3 columns, and these properties I have not set yet. So the axis alignment, I have the properties called cross axis alignment dot center. So I want every child to be at the center, and maximum axis alignment, I can have main axis alignment dot space evenly, dot space round, but space evenly, and then the axis is going to be main axis dot max. So if you save this, okay, it should not display yet. Sorry. It shouldn't display. So now you finish writing your column widget. So your column widget has to be part of the body, and the body is created. Now you understand, okay? The body is created by list of columns too. So this is like in a widget tree. So here we probably have in a build, we have the widget home. We want, like, the material app has a widget home, and the widget home has to have create the state from widget home state, and then the widget home state has the app bar and the body. Okay, the body is then created from the column widget. like list of other widget trees, but we can order like at the end we have column. So let's call our column widget which holds three texts here. So I could say maybe column widget widget, and it will create. So it would want some parameter, but so here is our comma, and then there might be some error, but let's go ahead and try it. So you have your three columns, but this doesn't look right. So maybe we need to modify our column widget. In this case, if you just press Control, you can directly go here. So let's put some other widget which is called division or divider. Okay, so we'll create our divider widget here, divider, and then we need a comma 2 here, and we'll put Control S. Now you can see also it's very hard to see, but you can see that there is some divider and the text has moved a little. Okay, you can set the color of the divider and other things. We'll learn maybe about divider widget also. So now you have three columns, but always do not forget to have what? To have a constructor. So we will create a constructor here. So here we created our column widget constructor, and then we also have to put const. So since this is like nothing changes, like this is constant. So if you save again, nothing will change here, but that is a proper way of coding. So today I think we cover the rich text widget and the column widget. Although like it seems slow, we are not actually just covering the rich text widget and the column widget, right? We are covering also like some smaller widgets that you normally don't use very often, like the divider widget, and also we have in the container widget we discussed about text span and its children, right? So there is lots of things that we have covered today, and also we I think covered the container widget. So this will be it for today, and I'll see you in the next video.